everybody, welcome to the Chantress Sade YouTube channel. And today's tutorial is on how to create this two-piece look. It's a long sleeve choker style fitted dress with a detachable tulle skirt. Now let's get into it, honey. So you're going to change your setting to the largest zigzag stitch. And then you're going to drop your needle and then lift it up without stitching. Then you're going to pull the top and bottom threads, at least 3 to 4 armfuls of it, just to make sure that you don't run out of thread while you're zigzagging. And then once you have pulled your thread, you're going to then drop your needle in your foot and zigzag over the thread. And if you can't pull both of the threads at the same time, I can never do that. So I'll just pull the threads individually. And then, like I said, drop your needle in the foot and then zigzag over the thread and slightly pull the thread while you're zigzagging. And that will create like really tight gathers. And if your thread pops or breaks or anything like that while you're zigzagging, all you have to do is just put a pin in it to secure those gathers and wrap the thread around it at least about 12-15 times, and then just start the gathering process over again where you left off at. Okay, now that you're done, you're going to cut those bottom threads, but not the threads that you was using to zigzag over. And then you're going to get a pin your fabric to secure those gathers, and then you're going to get the thread and wrap them around the needle. Wrap it around at least, I do it like 20 times. And you're going to repeat this same process with your lining. I use about 5 yards of lining. Oh, this is a pattern that I made of a fitted dress. So this look is actually for a client. So what I'm doing, I'm just marking off on the fabric for her measurements. And since this is a fitted dress, anytime that I'm doing like a really fitted look, I will add the client's exact measurements without adding seam allowance. So now I'm going to cut off the stopping point of the dress. In this client's, her measurements from shoulder to the stopping point was 39 inches. And I love using the washers at paperweights at my pattern weights. So what I got these from Home Depot. I think it was like 25 in a pack, and I forgot how much it was, but it really wasn't much. I know it wasn't, I don't know, I don't forget how much it was. This is the back pattern. So of course, you know, this is the back pattern. Do the same thing like I did the front. And now I'm cutting the sleeve. So right now, I'm going to cut the waistband to the skirt. So right now, I'm just marking on my fabric of the measurements that I need. This client's waist was a 40 waist. actually made the waist be like a 38 because I wanted it to fit really snug. So now I'm making the pattern for the collar, for the choker. The same way I do the waistband. Her measurements for her neck was 15. So now I'm taking those pieces that I cut of the dress, and I'm laying them on top of the fabric that I'm using to line them. And I'm gonna cut them out in the same exact way as I did the dresses. But instead of using the pattern, I'm gonna use the pieces that I cut. So that way I don't have to mark off like the customer's measurements again. So now I'm just gonna sew the dress, sew the side seams and the shoulder seams, and then I'm gonna do the same exact thing to the lining. So I made a mistake and deleted the clip of me hemming the bottom of the dress. So what I did was I pinned the right side of the bottom, the hem of the lining, to the right side of the hem of the dress, and I stitched that together all the way around, and then I flipped the dress in and through one of the openings that I left open. Like I left open like the armhole, so I flipped the dress through that. So I am attaching the dress and the lining together by using my serger. So I am serging all of the raw edges, like the armhole, the back seam of the dress, and the neckline. So now I'm attaching the lining to the collar to the main fabric. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to stitch the ends and one side and leaving the other side open so I can turn the collar inside out. Sharp corners, so when I flip those corners in, it won't be so bulky. Now after I have flipped it, I'm going to stitch the raw edges together. Now I'm going to iron it to make sure that it lays flat and clean. Now I'm going to iron my sides, press my side seams. Because I forgot to press my side seams before, before I attach the lining, so I'm just going to do it now. I'm going to press my side seams in the shoulder seam. Now I am stitching the sleeves. I actually lost my footage to showing you how to stitch the sleeves from the beginning, but I'm stitching the sleeves after I have serged it. And what happened was, as I was serging, I went too far over a little bit, so I'm just going back to secure those stitches. Now I'm doing a roll hem to the bottom of the sleeve. Now I'm pinning the collar to the neckline. Now I'm going to attach the sleeves to the dress. So what I'm going to do is pin the sleeves to the armholes and then stitch. Now that you have stitched both your armholes, you're going to serge the raw edges. Now I'm going to use my pressing cam to press the seams to the armhole. So now I am going to press the fusible interfacing to the lining of the dress to stabilize the area where I'm going to stitch the zipper. And I used about 1 inch of the fusible interfacing. So now I'm going to use my regular foot to stitch the top of the zipper to the seam. And I do that because it seems like my zipper foot have a hard time going over that seam right there, so I always use my regular foot. Now I'm going to pin the zipper to the dress to make sure that my zipper do not move, because I do not want a wavy zipper. Now I have attached my zipper foot, so now I'm just going to stitch the zipper to the dress. Now I'm zipping up the dress. I'm going to put a notch on the other side of the zipper to match up the seams. going to stitch your waistband for your skirt. So you're going to stitch the edges in the bottom, but you're going to leave an opening at the bottom to enough room so you can flip your waistband inside out. Now you're going to flip your waistband inside out. So now I'm going to match up the lining in the waistband together, and I'm going to adjust the gathers so it will fit. And my starting point for this waistband is 5 inches from the end of the waistband where the hooks will be. Now I have the lining matched up. I'm going to put a pin in the lining and wrap the thread around that a couple of times. About 15 times to secure those gathers. So as I'm matching up the lining and the tulle together, I noticed that I have too much tulle. So what I did was I went ahead and pinned and stitched the lining and the tulle together, and the extra that I had left over, I created another layer. So now as you can see, I am stitching the other layer to the tulle and the lining that I have already stitched together. So that makes it be 1 layer of lining and 4 layers of tulle. Now that I have the lining and the extra layer of tulle stitched together, I'm going to attach the waistband to the skirt. And while you're stitching, make sure that you are paying attention to the gathers, because while you're stitching, especially because it's so many layers, it's easy for all the gathers to not be lined up to the edge correctly. So sometimes you may stitch, and then while you're finished stitching, attaching the waistband to the skirt, you flip it up and you notice that you can see some of the raw edges to the gathers because you didn't make sure that all of the gathers was tucked underneath. So that's really easy to do, especially when you have a lot of layers. And make sure while you're stitching, just take your time because it's so many layers, and it's really easy to break your needle if you go too fast. At first, I was sewing so fast and I broke like 2 needles. Thanks for watching my tutorial, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And don't forget to ring the bell button to know when I have a new video. Bye, y'all.